Let's look at the remaining games for Ohio State, and you kind of alluded to them. Which one of those concerns you the most? And I'm guessing it's not Maryland or Rutgers based on what you said. Are you more concerned with Penn State in Columbus or Michigan at Michigan?
Here's the non-answer to that question. The concern is the two of them together. And the idea that that's what you have, that this schedule is not Maryland, Penn State, Rutgers, Michigan, that you have a game like Penn State the week before your rivalry game on the road, and that Penn State is really good and Michigan is pretty good, and Michigan has gotten itself together a little bit. So that is why conference strength matters, because it's the grind, the back-to-back grind, and how playing one week, even if you win, can increase the chances of you losing the next week because you're beaten up, because you're emotionally drained, because you had to put so much into that. Now this team had an easier game. That it's the double dip. And again, the idea that like this is what the Big Ten came up with. I'm like, oh, well, let's have our best team play the other two best teams back to back at the end of the year. That's the way it goes. The SEC would never do it. SEC would never do this to Alabama. This is what Ohio State has to face. And I think on their own, both Penn State and Michigan, of course, are very winnable. They would win those games. Back to back makes it harder.
Yeah, without question. And then, if they're able to get into the college football playoffs, think about that. Think about the last four games that they'll have to play. Now, there's a gap in between them, and you got the Big Ten Conference Championship potentially. That's almost like the NFL playoffs for them as they try to win a national championship.
And it is. I mean, there's not quite as much of a break this year. The semifinal games are on December 28th. Conference championship weekend is a little late this year. I mean, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a grind on these guys, and they've rolled everybody, and they're going to roll the next 2 weeks. But if they get this thing, if they win this thing, what they're going to have to do in the final 5 games of the year against Penn State, Michigan, probably Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game, and then 2 playoff wins, they'll have really earned.